What is up, my little Deinos? Vepsis, your host of the Helsinki Hydreigons, and we are here for my NCP Season 4 Week 10 battle when we go up against MattOshea, and his roster you can see it bottom right screen as of right now, and you can tell that there's no face cam or layout. Those will be coming back for NCP once we get into the playoffs, and this is the final battle of the regular season. If we win this battle, we get the number 2 seed going to playoffs. If we lose, we have to see the differential that where it's gonna be landing me in the rankings in itself. So after this battle has been done, I will look into the standings knowing the result and tell you then that who I'm gonna be playing most likely round 1, if I know and remember how the seedings will work out for the round 1 in itself. So breaking the fourth wall as well. If I seem like drinking it every now and then, like for my coffee, I try to drink it away from the mic, and if I seem a little bit out of it, that is due to the fact that it's 6:30 in the morning as I'm playing this, cause the time zones and my opponent's work schedule really didn't do us any favors to find a proper time to play. It was between 4 AM to 7 AM between all of the weekdays and the weekends, and I decided, you know what, let's do this on Sunday, and now I'm just taking the bullet, and hopefully it won't influence my plays in a bad way too much, but if they do, I already gonna warn you ahead of time that I'm just very tired over here. But either way, I'm gonna be cutting here, and we're gonna be jumping back once we are at the team preview. Alright, here we are with the team, or we are gonna be jumping into the team review. So let's see what MattOshea is gonna be bringing for this. I'm not really sure how seriously he's gonna be taking this game, so bear in mind we might see some interesting team composition from his side. So I'm bringing a pretty like a standard, like not really like it's a thought through team. It's not the best team of the chance we play into playoffs already like round 1. I don't know if it's possible, so I didn't like reveal everything, but I'm bringing a team that hopefully should be still good enough to win. It should be this one. I felt more confident with that I did what I built versus Ultra Player, and that itself should be already encouraging, because if you saw that battle, it was a little bit of not the greatest games from my point of view, but I kind of knew that going in that it could play out that way, knowing that how little I spent time on it. But we do see pretty much everything expected. Something that I will keep a note on is that Alolan Persian, cause offensive Dark-type can be a little bit of threatening, while Persian is not naturally that offensive. Something like a Nasty Plot set could be a thing, so I have to watch out for that. It could also be a Southwest like Gengar, cause it didn't bring Rhyperior that I thought could also be that in itself. I'm already selecting my lead as a GALARIAN SLOWKING, cause I kinda wanna lead well versus Tapu Koko turn 1 if I can help myself. The other option would have been the Rotom Heat, but I think still this will be my lead in itself. The Uxie will be a little bit annoying to wear down. Thankfully my offensive moves do beat it, but my defensive moves might be a little bit bothered by it depending on its moveset. But good luck and have fun to MattOshea. Hopefully this is gonna be fun and worthwhile last battle of the regular season for not KDL. The NCP Season 4 before we get into the playoffs. But let's see what he leads with. He does lead with the Tapu Koko as kinda expected, to be honest. So we got our lead in that sense pretty nicely for ourselves. So I could go for the Sludge Bomb just turn 1, cause I feel like Uxie would be his safest play versus this thing. The other option that I'm thinking would be Flamethrower, but I want to keep the Flamethrower option in the back. And Scizor is not necessarily something that I'm really... Let me think. I guess I go with the Flamethrower. Off the chance he does go into Scizor. So he does go for the U-turn, which will do 1 to put me down to 168. I won't be looking right now on the screen, so bear with me in the reaction in itself, that if we catch the CISO on the switch or not. And the U-turn did put us in 168. Okay, that looks about right. It shouldn't, by looks of it, being physical attacker. Okay, we did see the CISO on the switch, so I'm glad that I called that one out. But on this note, who would I go into? I didn't see the Arcanine either, I think. Or did I? Yeah, we didn't see the Arcanine, which in itself is pretty neat. I think I go into my Rotom Heat. Just to threaten this thing out. He could go for the knockoff, which would be a little annoying, I suppose, but it should be fine. He does go for the knockoff. And here, what do you really have as a overhit switching? I guess the Uxie would be your call for that. So I think I go for the Volt Switch. I don't think he has any business of staying in. He did stay in. Why? Why you would risk this thing? I guess we go into Corviknight. Now I kinda wish I had Rocky Helmet on this guy. But I actually kinda thought of bringing for this. But let's see what he does. He does go for the U-turn, alright. Well, the bright side is the CISO is pretty low on health, so it might be something that I can consider him sacking later on in the game if he's in a tough spot. And now he does go into the Koko. And he might go for the U-turn again, but I don't really mind it. I do always have my SLOWKING as regen mount to pivot around this thing. And I don't think I should be risking this thing, cause it's kinda like mixed defensive. He can't take one hit from the person if it's Nasty Plot. He does go for this strafe for the Thunderbolt. So we'll take that just fine. And now I think I go for this Scald. It still hits the C, so I might be able to burn something on a switch. And he does go for the U-turn. In all intents and purposes, even though this is not stab, I want to think this still kills. And I kinda would like the idea of... Okay, he does go into Celebi. So he gets to see some of my coverage moves. We don't score the burn. Which I suppose is alright. On this play, I think I'll go into the Rotom Heat, because I expect the rocks go up, so if I want to rest at any point of time to heal myself back up, I can, and Overheat is pretty nice here to be able to weaken this thing and eventually Volt Switch myself out of there. I guess the one play that I thought that why he stayed with his Siso was that he thought that I would be slow Rotom Heat. Because I did speed creep the Siso in itself, so I guess that in hindsight was the case that I slept on, that why he could potentially stay in, but I thought he would never risk that. Okay, he does go for the U-turn. Thankfully Rotom Heat is not necessarily too bad of a spot versus majority of his things, since the right period didn't show up, so I should not be in that terrible of a spot. The only thing that threatens me out is the Keldeo, which does come in. And as for this, I go actually into my Galarian SLOWKING, cause this thing could have Toxic, or it does go for like Water type move. He could also go for the Flip there, but I wanna keep my Slowbro in the back, cause This could, like I said, go for the Toxic, and seeing the Dragon Knight, I do want to keep the slow pro for that as much as possible. And GALARIAN SLOWKING is still pretty much at high health, and we are like calm nature and very defensive. The Sacred Sword is quad resistant even if he tries to hit on physical side. And we have Side Shock for a Calm Minds setup. He does go for the Surf. Now this could be Specs, but it doesn't seem to do that much damage to us. So here I could just go for the Side Shock in itself, but at the same time I don't expect him to stay in. I think I'll try to call the Scissor and try to get the kill on it. But let's see if I get that one right. No, he does go into just into the Yuxi, alright. Now that we haven't seen any item from Yuxi, it definitely is gonna be some sort of reducing item, like either Kobo Berry or a what do you call it? Kasib Berry for Gengar. It's gonna be packing one of the two, but ideally we can weaken down to the point that it starts not matter too much anymore. Okay. Or he's likely potentially now. Now this doesn't confirm it until we have seen the turns. So there is that, but I think I'll go for the... Do I go for the overheat first? I guess I go for the overheat, because if he's dual screens he's gonna go for the reflect, so I can outpace it, get some chip on it, and I can volt switch afterwards. He's Toxic on it, I don't mind this, I'm Rest Talk. So what I will do is that I go for the rest actually now, next. And then I can pull just any of my 2 attacking moves from there. Immediately reveal that we do bring a rest talk, which is sort of like a meme I guess at this point that I run this, but you know what? We did see my BBR game when I lost to this kind of shenanigans, when Tapu Fini used that. So it just proves that if it's a good set. People can meme about it, but like, I have beaten you guys before with those, and I've been beaten by them. So, there's that, I suppose. Either way, he went for the U-turn, we get to see what he goes into. He does go into the Dragon Knight, which obviously is gonna be a little bit scary. We're gonna be going to our Slow Pro. This thing could be weakness policy, and now behind the light screen it will be a little bit scary. But I have Rocky Helmet on this. I think because the multi-scale is still up, I will Side Shock first. I will attempt to Side Shock first. Okay, he does go for the Thunder Punch, did a good amount of damage, and he managed to paralyze me, which is quite annoying. So that could be like XP belt since it did so much. I'm gonna actually check that. That put me at 104. Dragon Knight. Dragon Dance. Let's make you adamant while at it. Thunder Punch. To my slow pro. Where did it leave me at? 104. Yeah, that looks to be XP belt and a high roll, so I gotta go for the Ice Beam. He Dragon Dances again. Hopefully we break through from this. As we do. Now mind you, yeah, that screen is still up, so I did have to worry about that scenario, but here what I think I have to do is that I might have to sack my... Yeah, I have to sack my Corviknight to this in order to get my reach, and I don't think I will go into my Rotom Hit, because that gives him opportunity to get into +4. or +3 or whatever. And he doesn't know if I have Brave Bird or not, so he's not really invited to set up on this thing if I live this hit. Pressure happens, which is, I guess, a thing. He's at +2, so this probably will take us out like it does. So now I go back into my Slow Pro. And we just Ice Beam again. So we just click Ice Beam here. And proceed from there. So Rotom Hit becomes a little bit more important member in a sense that that's gonna be a potential pivot around the person. If it's a Chopo Berry person with setup, that might be probably the worst case scenario, but we'll see. But for now we have to address the thing in front of us, and hopefully Sean Knock on Wood gets this Ice Beam off and we get to finish this thing off from here. So he goes for the Thunder Punch, we'll live it, and we do manage to get the Ice Beam off. Good job, Sean. You did the one thing that I want you to do at very least in this battle, and assess the threat of Dragonite, and the light screen will be wearing off. Okay. So we had our casualty in Corviknight, but thankfully the right period didn't show up, so I don't necessarily need it for that crown immunity. I do have Rotom Heat, but obviously it being weak to rock is not the greatest crown immunity to be reliant on. So he does go into this Scizor, so he probably is gonna be clicking Roost if anything. But either way I go into my Rotom Heat here. I don't expect him to go for attacking move, cause he would be killing himself. So if anything, he's gonna be going for a Roost on this turn. He goes for the U-turn. Okay. I was a little bit surprised he did go for U-turn, cause he could have died to that Rocky Helmet. But I guess we get to keep our Slowbro as a sack, and I can use that later on. If he keeps doing that, and he doesn't click like Roost with it. He goes into the Coco, which could tell us that it's a setup, so I'll just hard into my Slowking. Or do I just... It's U-turn with it. I don't think it's gonna be set up necessarily and something for me to fear. I'm gonna be going for this lead talk. Thunderbolt. We should take this okay. Yeah, we do. Do we get some damage on this? Okay, we do get our slow pivot on this. Which is pretty neat, cause now we get to go into our Galarian SLOWKING again. A little bit more freely. So here he's probably gonna be going for the U-turn once more. And I think I will cover that play with just Flamethrower. He does stay in. So I suppose I don't really understand why he would be doing that. We do snatch the burn, which at least keeps this thing whittled down. And I guess makes up for the Thunder Punch Spera. I think I'll go for it again. He might be doing this to... Okay, he's just... Is he just attempting to sack this thing? Does he not believe that I have a poison stab on this? Because I'm doing decent chunk to you. I think I go once for Flamethrower. I wanna see that Scizor coming in and die to me. Or is he not willing to swap on it for free? I guess that could be a thing. If he preserves this thing at this point of health, I'm okay with it. So I go for the... Okay, now he does swap. Now what's the CISO coming on this turn? I don't think it will be. I feel like UC will come in if he's willing to go for a U-turn. But at least I know for a fact that it's not like choice scuff or something like that. He goes into the Keldeo. Okay. I get to go for the Sludge Bomb. Okay, good damage on him as his leftovers, okay. He should not be able to hit me too hard, so I'm gonna be going for the Psyshock. As he does go for the Surf. We'll take this just fine. And we should be able to finish it out with a Psyshock of our own. So that's good. Oh, it lived. Damn. I didn't expect that to be the case. I guess what I will do is that I'll actually regen on this. I'm gonna get my regen back. And now obviously I don't have to worry about like a... what you call it? I don't have to care for a... I could keep doing this just to get my SLOWKING even healthier and healthier. So I will play this regen game a little bit. I don't expect him to preserve this thing. So I get my SLOWKING back to good amount of health. Because I want to keep it in a good amount of health for that Coco in the back. Because it's able to beat quite a few things 1v1. So now we go back to the Slowbro. And he gets to click a Surf. Okay. So now I think this Galarian SLOWKING is a good amount of health already, that I'm happy with it. So now I'll go for the Psyshock to attempt to finish this thing up. Oh, come on, Sean. You can do this. Have a killer instinct. Have a killer instinct, Sean. You can do this. Ah, Sean. Ah, Sean. Why are you gonna do this to us? Don't get paralyzed like that. Okay, I suppose we go into our SLOWKING again. Because again, keeping this for Rocky Helmet might be worthwhile. Just to get the final kill, or sacking if I need to. Yeah, that won't do too much, so now I can just Psyshock. If he preserves this thing, so be it, I don't really mind it. Yeah, he's gonna keep surfing here. Yeah, okay, so with the regen I should be good amount of health. And the Coco cannot 1v1 me at this point and come into roost yet. So I wasn't able to gain as much health through the progress because the Sean couldn't pull that one kill for us at that point. Like, come on, Sean, I know you got paralyzed by the Thunder Punch, which was sucky, but we cannot have that going to play us too much. So you gotta sharpen up before then. I'm glad that you finished the Dragon Knight, but that was another opportunity to get a kill. Salem. Okay. So this is where I could see a setup person being in a little bit of nuisance. But how do I want to deal with this? I have a Choice Scarf U-turn in the back, so I can utilize that for it. But I go into my Slowbro now. Like if he starts setting up or anything like that, I can play around it. Parting shot, okay, it doesn't seem to be like that. This gives the Coco opportunity to roost if he wants to do that, but that's also a free swap for my GALARIAN SLOWKING, so I don't really mind it too much. He goes into the Tapu Koko. And I will just proceed to click the... or go into my GALARIAN SLOWKING on this turn. I also wanna check the timer. Very briefly. Okay, I'm ahead of his time, so... I'm gonna keep it that way. Because that guy actually kept just popping into my mind that, okay, how can I lose this? It could be person if it's a set that I don't like to see, or if I mess up with my timer. But he does roost up here. And here... what I think I wanna do is that I go for a Psyshock. It should hit this thing relatively hard and it should finish the Scizor. If it doesn't finish it out, I can go into my slow pro on that turn. He does go for the Thunderbolt. I wanna say that this Psyshock will kill this thing. As he gets another para. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, man? That's a 10% chance. It should not be that high of a chance to get those. It should not be that high of a chance. So now it's a Sludge Bomb to try to finish this thing off if he tries to go for a Roost again. Alright, Mora. Don't be like Sean. You got this. I believe in you, buddy. I believe in ya. Okay, he has a KBA Berry. I don't know if it helps you though. Yeah, you get it still. Alright, we got a critical hit of our own. Okay, good job, Mora. You're like, oh, you're hexing me. I'm gonna hex back at you, and I'm gonna be killing you with that. Through the KBA Berry. I don't know if that mattered necessarily. I don't know the spread. I'm not about to calc it, because it doesn't matter. I could try to, but if I get to know his spread, I'll post it here while I edit. But if I don't get that chance to edit, then it is what it is. That we don't know necessarily if it mattered or not, but we take those. Like, it's not like we have been super lucky in this battle necessarily ourselves either. So let's see if he does go. He does go for the knockoff. Okay, does that finish his also? Finish him off? It does finish him off. Okay, good. So now I don't have to deal with that anymore. What does he even have left to even beat me down with? Did he just keep his pivots left? Are these the only guys that I have to deal with? Even before this is a setup all of a sudden still. I'll go for the Scald. He does go for the knockoff. And Sean is a beast, leaves that on 1. We still kept the Rocky helmet cause the Scizor died. Do we snatch a burn while at it, son? Come on, Sean. Give something to us. Aww. Aww, Sean. Sean, you could have pulled that one off at least for us. Come on, buddy. It's alright. It's okay, Sean. It is okay. Okay, so Sean goes down. Doesn't really matter too big scheme of things. I probably just go into my Urshifu and click a Choice Scarf Close Combat. If he goes into the Yuxi, I don't really care. That thing is not threatening my team at this point by any means. And yeah, just close combat. We do outpace it. He is now top of areas. We saw the lefties, and there we go. The person is gone, and only thing that is left is the Yuxi. Wait, I didn't pay attention on the light screen, so that's where kind of the earlier turns of me focusing on other things, then for that, kinda is sucky in this sense. But it's okay. I think I'm gonna just hard Gengar on this. It shouldn't be a joke, right? It shouldn't be, right? Battle was cancelled. I guess at that point he realized that he couldn't win, so good game to MattOshea. That will mean that we get the number 2 seed in the regular season, and what I said in the beginning of the last battle versus Ultra Player, I'm saying that word twice. Apologies for my English, as you have following my channel, is not my first language, and I kind of tend to potato at times. So let me try to finish that sentence again, right from the start. Like I said, versus Ultra Player on week 9 battle, before we jump into that, I was very much okay of just getting 1 win out of these last 2 battles and securing that number 2 seed. I wasn't really too worried about like if I end up being the number 1 seed or not. So again, congratulations to SLOWKING if you're watching this, for his number 1 seed in the regular season. I felt like he deserved a little bit more than I did, regards to the fact that going to these last 2 games I wasn't too worried about having to do that. Like I'm like looking at the playoff picture, like just getting a top 2 seed should be good enough, and I had a lot of different other games to worry about since this sickness kind of put me in a back foot of trying to catch up with the schedule. So I'm happy with the result of today, and I'm gonna be actually, before I end the video, I'm gonna be looking at the document and see who do we play in round 1, as we're gonna be number 2 seed. Montreal Milotics. Oh, this is gonna be a rematch in round 1. We play Montreal Milotics after all. For me here. So, there you go. We end up playing him as well for the round 1. So, looking forward to that, I suppose. Now looking in hindsight, maybe it would have been good for letting him to have another differential. But that's fine. We get to play Montreal Milotics once more in round 1, so stay tuned for that, and until next time, thank you for watching, and I'm gonna be seeing you guys later.